今天以我36年的失败的人生经历，给大家做一点参考吧。
This life of mine has almost convinced me that I have no hope of finding a wife. Today, I want to share some reflections and advice based on my 36 years of a failed life. I am 36 years old, born in a rural area, and currently do not have a stable job. My monthly income is about 3,000 yuan. I have neither a girlfriend nor a wife. For me, the hope of finding a wife in this lifetime is very slim. Because of this situation, I often reflect on my life. Where exactly did the problem lie? I went to university, and it was a bachelor's degree at that. However, compared with my peers, the gap is really too large. First, I have no money. Second, I have no family. So where did things go wrong? To sum up, I think the problem lies in not making the right choices at different stages of life. The first stage is during school, especially during university. At that time, there were two paths. Either study hard to strive for graduate school, a doctorate, or opportunities such as civil service exams to embark on a more secure path. Or, simply not devote all your energy to studying but instead take advantage of your university days to date more and accumulate some emotional experience. For rural kids like me, who are generally more self-abased and have low emotional intelligence, accumulating romantic experience is actually very important. Looking back, I neither focused entirely on studying nor did I seriously date, resulting in failing to grasp both sides. The second stage is the first few years after graduation when you start working. Unless one's personal abilities are particularly strong, it is almost impossible to improve one's conditions and situation solely through hard work. Such improvement often requires time and resources, but for ordinary people like us from rural backgrounds, resources are too limited. So, instead of desperately trying to improve your circumstances through work, it's better to find a suitable girlfriend earlier and get married sooner. Two people working together is much easier than one person fighting alone. This is the right way. Now, about entrepreneurship. I also tried starting a business at home, working on it for several years. As a result, not only did I fail, but I also ended up in heavy debt. This made me deeply realize that entrepreneurship is not suitable for those with average ability. For those with exceptional ability, entrepreneurship might change their fate, but for ordinary people like us, never hold the illusion of finding a wife after succeeding in business. The probability of succeeding through entrepreneurship is extremely low, while the chance of failure is very high. Finally, I discovered another fatal flaw in myself. I have a gambler's mindset. Whether it was in past jobs or in my current entrepreneurship, I always had a betting mentality. Take my current situation, for example. Everyone knows my conditions, and some people even openly acknowledge them. Under such circumstances, finding a wife is undoubtedly even harder. But I am still betting that I can make money through hard work in business and eventually find a wife. However, this gambling mindset often makes things worse. I believe it is crucial to have a correct understanding of one's abilities. Do not overestimate yourself and think you are much better than others. When I truly realized that my abilities were very ordinary, I finally understood that many things simply cannot be changed through hard work. Instead, it would have been better to honestly find a stable job and live a steady life. If I had gotten married earlier, two people working together would actually have been a better choice. I hope my 36 years of a failed life can provide some reference and lessons for those like me, who are from rural areas, have ordinary conditions and average abilities.
我现在35岁，没有结婚，没有房，没工作，更没有钱。我说一下我现在的真实感受。
I am 35 years old this year. I am not married, do not own a house, have no job and no savings. Today, I want to share my true feelings. For a man, if he reaches 35 years old and is neither married nor successful in his career, he is almost regarded as a loser in the eyes of others. Perhaps one moment someone still respects you, but as soon as they learn about your actual situation, that you are older, have achieved nothing, and are still unmarried, that respect immediately turns into disdain. Actually, saying 35 years old is already a conservative statement. Nowadays, many people believe that if a man has not established a family or career by the age of 30, he is already starting to be looked down upon by those around him. From 30 to 35, this period only makes your situation more awkward, and the disdain from others will grow. By the time you reach 35, almost everyone around you will look at you with strange eyes. What's even scarier is that you will become a negative example for others to teach their children. If someone's child delays marriage or lacks effort, their parents might use you as an example to warn them. Don't end up like so-and-so, achieving nothing in the end. At this stage, respect can only come from strangers. In the eyes of acquaintances, you have almost lost the opportunity to be treated equally. Especially in rural areas, the situation is even worse. If you return to your hometown, people will casually boss you around, ordering you to do this and that with a rude attitude, not taking you seriously at all. You can't even refuse because if you do, they will say you have a bad temper, no skills, but still act proud. In such situations, you will always be seen as a piece of rotten wood that cannot be carved. So, brothers, I suggest that if you are over 30 and lack career achievements, it's best to leave your hometown. No matter where you go, don't go back. Staying in your hometown will only expose you to more disdain and mental torment. Many brothers might ask, what's the benefit of getting married? I can stay single for life. Honestly, I also agree with you. But if you choose not to get married, you must have a successful career. At the very least, this will help you save some face. If you achieve nothing, then it's better to avoid attending any family gatherings of your relatives. Attending them will only bring you mental suffering. Some people might argue, thinking these things don't exist. They might say that others asking you to do work is a sign of recognizing your abilities and thinking you are capable. But the reality is exactly the opposite. If someone truly respects you and believes in your capabilities, they usually won't order you to do things. Let me give you a simple example. Would you dare to order your leader or boss to do work? Of course not, you would do it yourself. Therefore, being frequently ordered around is not a sign of recognition, but a form of disrespect. If you can't realize this, I can only say your ability to understand is too poor. So, brothers, if you are still in your 20s, this is truly the golden time of your life. This period is the best time to strive and an important stage to realize your self-worth. Whether it's your career or relationships, you must seize opportunities in your 20s and try to solve your career and marriage issues as early as possible. Life doesn't give you much time to waste. If you miss out, it will be very hard to recover.
作为一个40岁的大龄剩男，现在除了我自己
As a 40-year-old unmarried man, I have clearly noticed that, apart from me spending money to go to a matchmaking agency to look for a partner, almost no one is willing to proactively introduce a suitable match to me. This situation makes me feel both helpless and somewhat aggrieved. Some relatives and friends around me always say behind my back that I am too picky, have high standards, or even complain that I am unwilling to compromise. But what I want to say is, the truth is not as they think. I really don't have very high demands, but the people they introduced before were simply not suitable. I feel that the older generation tends to see marriage more as a task, thinking it's fine as long as it's completed, and they never seriously consider the happiness and feelings of us, the people involved. It's as if putting two people together counts as a job well done, while whether they can live happily after marriage doesn't seem to concern them. For example, the matches they introduced to me were either divorced and already had children or were peers around my age who, after meeting, showed no sense of responsibility. It seemed like they expected me to be the sole provider for the family and were unwilling to work together. Occasionally, I would meet someone slightly more attractive, but then she would make all kinds of harsh demands, such as requiring me to immediately buy a house and a car or asking for a dowry of hundreds of thousands of yuan, completely disregarding my actual situation. I honestly feel that, if I don't rely on spending my own money at matchmaking agencies to try to find someone suitable, solely depending on relatives and friends for introductions is a total waste of time because their recommendations are completely unreliable. Now, my parents urge me to get married every day, leaving me mentally and physically exhausted, to the point where I am nearly driven insane. It's not that I'm not anxious, but the problem is, I truly haven't met someone who is genuinely suitable. If one day I really meet a woman whose values align with mine and who understands me, I could marry her without hesitation the very next day. For me, marriage has never been about forcing myself to complete a task. It's about finding someone truly suitable to spend the rest of my life with. That's what matters most.
我妈又催婚了，轰炸式催婚。
My mom has recently launched a new wave of marriage-pushing attacks, which can only be described as bombardment-style pressure. Today, she actually called me 3 times in a row. Each call had almost identical content, revolving around the topic of marriage. She even specifically mentioned that an introducer had arranged for me to meet a girl today. As soon as we started talking, my mom couldn't wait to ask, "Didn't the introducer take you to see that girl today? How was she?" I had no choice but to answer honestly, she wasn't quite suitable. However, this was clearly not the answer she wanted to hear, so she immediately pressed on. What's not suitable? As long as the girl is interested in you, there's nothing unsuitable about it. I tried to explain my feelings and replied, I didn't feel anything special. To my surprise, she got even more anxious. How old are you now? Do you still care about feelings? Feelings come after you spend time together. How can you have feelings without spending time together? Then she continued saying, because of your marriage situation, I can't eat or sleep well every day. I don't even want to go back to our hometown for the new year. You've made me lose face. I don't even want to see relatives and friends. Her words made me feel both helpless and heartbroken, but they also put a lot of pressure on me. I know her pushing for marriage comes from a place of care, but this method makes it hard for me to breathe. As an older single man born in 1989, I really want to know, are your parents the same way about pressuring you to get married? Is this a shared experience of our generation, or am I the only one enduring this emotional bombardment?
30岁大龄剩男3年相亲几十次依旧单身，我都经历了什么？
At the age of 30, I have already been categorized as an older single man. Over the past 3 years, I have participated in dozens of blind dates, yet I remain single to this day. During this period, I have gone through a lot and developed many thoughts. Today, I want to discuss a topic. When a man invites a woman to a meal during a blind date, is it an obligatory duty? Or is it merely an act of courtesy? The very essence of blind dating is for both parties to get to know each other. A woman is not the man's creditor, nor is she in any special relationship with him. A man has no obligation to treat a woman to a meal. However, in the current social environment, there seems to be a tacit understanding, or rather an unwritten rule, that men should take the initiative to treat women during blind dates. I am no exception. Following this custom, I often choose to pay the bill. But is this rule truly fair? Once, during a blind date, I treated the woman to a meal, yet she didn't even say a simple thank you, let alone reciprocate with a small gesture like offering to buy me a drink. Later, when we passed a fruit store, she bought herself a box of strawberries without even asking, "Would you like some as well?" This left me feeling helpless and disappointed. Such attitudes made me question why some women consider men's efforts to be taken for granted. I understand that many people expect women to demand certain actions from men, such as taking the initiative to pay the bill or being considerate. However, I believe that men also have the right to expect something in return from women, such as a display of gratitude or a small gesture of reciprocity. After multiple blind dates, I gradually realized that it is important for women to show their attitude, such as actively expressing thanks or making an effort to reciprocate in some way. This is not just about politeness, it is a reflection of mutual respect. What made me even more speechless was that, after this experience, the matchmaker came to me and said, "That woman seems to have a pretty good impression of you." Hearing this, I was utterly baffled and could only reply, "Sorry, I've already deleted her contact information." Since then, I have become more sensitive to details during blind dates and pay greater attention to the woman's attitude. Have any of you encountered similar situations during blind dates?
Many men, even in their 30s or older, blush when talking to women. This makes people wonder, how can they possibly find a partner? In fact, the main reasons why most older single men struggle to get into a relationship, despite constant pressure from their families to marry, usually boil down to two factors. First, they know too few women, and second, they lack the skills to communicate effectively with them. The solution to these problems, however, is actually quite simple. Expand your social circle and meet more women. It is important to emphasize that meeting more women does not mean flirting irresponsibly or getting involved in casual relationships. Instead, it means actively communicating with women of different age groups. Whether they're older or younger than you, make an effort to engage and learn from them. Through these interactions, you can gradually understand how women think. It's important to realize that women's thought processes are very different from men's. Men are typically straightforward, distinguishing clearly between right and wrong. Women, on the other hand, are more focused on feelings and value care, gentleness, and respect from others. To achieve this level of understanding, you need to gain enough experience and insight to truly learn how to interact with women. In addition, there's another crucial point. Men need to improve themselves. When you become more outstanding, you will naturally attract more women who are willing to get to know you. At the same time, it's important for men to avoid a common mistake in relationships: being overly calculating about what they give and expecting a specific return. This mindset often stems from having too few options. When you have a broader range of choices, you'll better understand what you truly want and feel more at ease. Lastly, there's one thing I must particularly remind everyone. When pursuing a woman without enough confidence or assurance, do not invest excessively in terms of money or other one-sided efforts. Such investments are unlikely to yield the kind of return you're hoping for and may even lead you to lose control. Remember not to become too deeply involved. Stay rational and clear-headed. That's the key. How do you think older single men can successfully find a partner? Feel free to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments section. Let's discuss this topic together. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to our channel. Your support is very important to us, and we'll continue to provide you with even better content. Thank you again for watching, and see you next time.